All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Corey Stapleton, Montana's Secretary of State. Welcome to Montana's 2020 Presidential Elector Meeting. The meeting of presidential electors occurs every 4 years and is an important part of the nation's democracy. And across the United States, presidential electors are meeting just like we are here. The meeting today is being broadcast live on the Montana Public Affairs Network. For folks attending in person, please silence your cell phones at this time. And welcome. Thank you for coming. I would like to thank and recognize the 3 Montana electors and the alternate electors for serving our state in this capacity. Please raise your hand as I introduce each of you. The electors are Thelma Baker, Becky Stockton, and Brad Cheetah. The alternate electors nominated are Lola Shella Galway, John Brendan, and Cleve Loney. Mr. Loney recently passed away, and I want to express my condolences to his family. Some of my staff are here to help with this meeting. On my right is Montana's election director, Dana Corson, and Gabby Ames, who's our election specialist. For those that are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Thelma Baker said she wasn't going to miss this for the world. So I'm glad that you're all here. Thank you. Every 4 years, there's a renewed interest in the Electoral College, especially this year. And my office gets a lot of questions about this process. And so before we get started, I'm going to share with you some information about the Electoral College. This information is also printed on the back of the agenda. The U.S. President is indirectly elected by the citizenry through a College of Electors, devised in 1787 by the framers of the U.S. Constitution. The elector's role is to meet once in each of the respective states or the District of Columbia to pick the next president. New electors are chosen for each election, and at the conclusion of their duties, they disband. How did we inherit such a system? It is the result of a hard-fought compromise reached by the framers of the Constitution during the Constitutional Convention of 1787. The framers debated many options for choosing the nation's highest office. Some wanted popular elections, while others wanted Congress to make the choice without public input. The compromise they made falls somewhere between these two options. In the Federalist Papers, Alexander Hamilton summed up how he and many of the framers may have felt about the system, noting that if the manner of it not be perfect, it is at least excellent. To understand the origins of the Electoral College, one should look at life and politics in the United States in 1787. The country had only 13 states, which until 1776 had been separate colonies. The founders believed that state loyalties could trump the best interests of a national government, and that it would be difficult to elect a candidate with national prestige. If a candidate was required to win states instead of just popular votes, however, it would be more likely that he would have wide-ranging support outside his home state. This was a concern for smaller states that feared the domination of the presidency by states with larger populations. The Electoral College has evolved since its establishment in 1787. Constitutional amendments have improved the Electoral College, and over time, states have altered the ways they have implemented it. But the fundamentals of this system remain mostly intact. While the Electoral College is not a flawless system, it has passed many difficult tests during the presidential elections in which it has been used. Electors. As Montana's electors, you are responsible for representing our state in the Electoral College, and as such, you are the voice of Montana's electorate. Thank you again for being part of this important process. We will now do the roll call of electors, and I will swear in each elector. As I call the roll of names as they appear for the Republican Party on the official certification filed in my office, I ask that as your name is called, you answer the roll with present. Alternate electors will be sworn in only if they serve. Roll call. Thelma Baker. Present. Becky Stockton. Present. Brad Cheetah. Present. Do I need to call in the others? Lola Sheldon Galloway. Present. John Brendan. Should I stand for this? I think. If you'd stand. Thelma, you're okay there. Electors, please raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brad Cheetah.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support, protect, and defend.
That I will support, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of Montana.
And the Constitution of Montana.
And that I will discharge the duties of my office.
And that I will discharge the duties of my office.
With fidelity, so help me God.
With fidelity, so help me God.
Thank you. Gabby will give you the oaths of office for you to sign and return to her. Do we have a moment where we give public? Yeah, but anytime you have a public. Yeah, I might just. We good? It always kind of helps, if there's somebody that's upset about something, then they can get it out. Thank you, Gabby. At this point, the electors need to select a chairperson for the meeting. I will now entertain a motion for nomination for chairperson of the three electors. There has been a motion for Brad Cheetah for chairman. Is there a second? There is a second. Are there any other motions? Seeing none, is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will move to vote. All those in favor of Chairman Brad Cheetah, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Unanimously, Chairman Brad Cheetah, you've been elected chair of the presidential electors for the state of Montana and will assist with conducting the meeting. We have written instructions for you that Gabby will provide you. And I will cede the microphone to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Secretary Stapleton. My first order of business is to solicit nominations for secretary, and I will move that Becky Stockton be nominated as secretary for the electors. Do we have a second?
You want a second?
Okay. Are there any other motions? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All those in favor of Becky Stockton as secretary, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Becky Stockton, you have been selected secretary. Dana Corson and Gabby Ames from the Secretary of State's office are hereby appointed clerks to tally the votes of the electors. The electors will now cast votes for the President of the United States. Will the Secretary of State please distribute to the electors the ballots for President? Each elector will indicate the elector's choice for President of the United States of America by marking an X in the voting square before the name on the ballot and must sign and print their name. Each elector please present completed ballots to the Secretary of State so that the Secretary can ensure that the votes cast are for the winning candidate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Will the Secretary of State now distribute to the electors the ballots for Vice President, please? Each elector will indicate the elector's choice for Vice President of the United States by marking an X in the voting square before the name on the ballot and must sign and print their name. Mr. Secretary. I believe I need that's your sheet to compile. Okay. So
Is that right?
okay, thank you. Thanks, Gary. No worries, no worries. Each elector please present completed ballots to the Secretary of State so that the Secretary may ensure that the votes cast are for the winning candidate. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The ballots have been accepted. The votes cast for president and the votes cast for vice president will now be canvassed. Chairman Cheetah, will you please visually witness from the tally sheets the fact that the 2020 Montana presidential electors have cast 3 votes for Donald J. Trump, the Republicans' candidate for President of the United States of America, and have cast 3 votes for Michael R. Pence, the Republican Party's candidate for Vice President of the United States of America?
Montana's choice for president is Donald J. Trump, and for vice president, it is Michael R. Pence. The certificates of the votes cast shall now be executed. There are 6 certificates to be signed by each of the electors. Electors should sign as their name appears on the certificate. Attached to each certificate is the original of the Certificate of Ascertainment of the Presidential Electors, signed by the Governor and attested to by the Secretary of State under the Great Seal of the State of Montana. When the certificates of vote have been executed, these certificates and the attached certificates of ascertainment will be presented to the Secretary of State and placed by the clerks in the white envelopes provided for that purpose. Clerks, please seal one white envelope with the ballots so cast and counted and the tally sheets addressed to the President of the United States Senate. Next, the clerks please seal two pairs of the documents in a white envelope addressed to the Archivist of the United States. Next, clerks, please seal two pairs of documents in each white envelope addressed to the Secretary of State. And lastly, clerks, please seal one pair of documents in the white envelope addressed to the Chief Judge of the Federal District Court of Montana. Secretary Stapleton, please mail the certificates at such time and to such persons as the law directs. Is there any other business? If there is no other business, the 2020 meeting of the presidential electors is adjourned, and I will turn it back over to the Secretary of State for further instructions to the electors and closing comments.
Thank you, Chairman Cheetah. Electors who served, please fill out and sign reimbursement vouchers distributed by Gabby. By law, electors receive the same pay and mileage that is allowed to members of the legislature, although not meals or lodging. Additionally, we need each elector to sign the minutes of the meeting that Gabby will distribute. Maybe we could get a group picture too. It has been my privilege to preside over the presidential elector meetings. I'd like to commend, first of all, Montana's county election administrators, all 56 of them, for conducting fair, open, and accurate elections so that the meeting of the electors can be conducted as scheduled. And secondly, I'd like to thank the voters of Montana for being actively engaged in our democracy. And lastly, I'd like to thank the presidential electors for their service to our great state. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Secretary Stapleton.
Push off your mic. Can you push off your mic there, Phil?
I'll make sure I have this here, so give me a moment. Montana's choice for president is, okay. Montana's choice for president is Donald J. Trump, and for vice president, it is Michael R. Pence. Mhm.
The Republican Party would like to take care of all of this.
Yes. May I borrow your pen?